Yo, welcome back to another edition of the Men Who Cry podcast. Please like, subscribe, review, tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. If you do not do these things, I have to assume that you were one of the people that Metro Boomin was talking about on his Twitter rant on today's episode. Um, this will be the first of our series of going through the 25 of the last 25-year butterfly moments in sports. Now, the reason why I'm doing this list is twofold. One is we need something to talk about till we get to football, even though we had some stories that have come out that I think will be better addressed when we get closer to football season. Um, so there's one. But the second thing is I do think it's interesting to see these kind of moments that happen where it's like, what is actually the sliding doors effect of it? Now, I think before I start this, we should actually explain what criteria was it that made some of these make the list and some of that didn't make the list. The criteria for this is it had to be a sports moment or something that involves sports that either completely uh, changed the direction of a player's career, um, maybe a franchise's decision making, or the sport in general, right? There was some type of rule change or something to that effect, right? Um, so there will be certain things that will happen here that were great sports moments, but they wouldn't necessarily be considered butterfly moment, right? For example, something that did not make the list that was an honorable mention, thought long and hard about, was the David Tyree catch in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. While that was a great play, and while that was a great moment, and while that stopped the Patriots from completing an undefeated season, the first undefeated season we've had since the Dolphins in the 70s, nothing came of it, outside of the Patriots just losing. The Patriots went on to win multiple Super Bowls after that. The Giants won the Super Bowl against them. Against that, it is a great play. It is a great Super Bowl moment, but all it did was help a team win a Super Bowl that had won Super Bowls prior. So something like that is an example of something that would be on the list that didn't make the list, right? So on this episode, we are just doing the first four on the list, right? So we're just doing numbers 25, 24, 23, and 22 for you guys today, all right? So starting off with number 25 on the list of the top 25 butterfly moments of the last 25 years, we are going with the Odell Beckham Jr. one-handed catch against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. This happened on November 23rd, 2014. This was the very first play of the second quarter, actually. Um, Odell Beckham makes a catch over Brandon Carr. What made this play obviously impactful was that you could argue at the time it was the greatest catch that anyone had ever had in the moment. It was a play that very few times there are plays that happen that kind of supersede the game. Most people don't remember the Giants lost that game, um, and in pretty convincing fashion. It wasn't like a super close game. It wasn't a blowout, but the team had control for a large part of the game. Um, the reason why that this made it on the list and something that's different about other things that wouldn't make the list is one of the big things that I am a proponent of in sports, and I think the reason why sports is so incredible is things are impossible until they are not, right? Shohei Otani, right? You would have never thought we would see a guy be able to hit for multiple home runs and be able to pitch until someone did it, right? Michael Phelps. No one thought that someone could swim that fast in that many ways until someone did it. Usain Bolt, it goes on and on and on. This catch not only showed and made Odell Beckham one of the most famous football players in the league at the time, it truly then altered the way that people catch the football. Now, there are high school players that are able to now make this catch pretty routinely and simply. So the impact and the reason why it had make this list of one of the 25 best moments or butterfly moments is without this catch, you can argue that the idea of catching a football in that kind of way doesn't actually enter someone's mind, right? And the fact that he was able to reach back like 1-3 and catch it with essentially three fingers is the reason why that he gets the 25th spot on this list. I can also go over some honorable mentions. This one was tough one to do. The guy that I had right underneath this, and it took me a while to kind of debate to see if he was going in. We had Kawhi Leonard at 26. His shot over the Philadelphia 76ers to help the Raptors get to the Eastern Conference Finals. That was really close to making it. Number 27 that we had was Usain Bolt becoming the fastest man in the world, breaking the world record for a 100-meter dash. Just missed out. Those two are number 26 and number 27, respectively. Okay, moving on. The number 24 spot of butterfly moments of the last 25 years, we are going with Luka Doncic getting traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. This is I don't think most people even realize this. This is the second time Luka's been traded. He was traded on draft night from the Atlanta Hawks, which is a very different butterfly moment that I don't think was really considered to be on this list. This trade happened on February 2nd or February 1st, depending on what time or what part of the country you're in. He was traded for Max Christie, Anthony Davis, and a 2029 first round pick. What made it impactful? We have really never seen a trade like this go down in the history of the NBA. A lot of times when superstars of this caliber get traded or leave their franchises, it's because of their own fruition. They either hit free agency and they leave, or they make trade requests, right? Typically, players of this ilk simply do not get traded by their team, right? That is what made it impactful in this kind of way. And the fact that Luka Doncic, who prior to last year had made All NBA 5 straight times after making his Rookie of the Year, after winning Rookie of the Year, and was seemingly on track to become one of the highest paid players to ever play the game of basketball if he was able to stay with Dallas. He recently signed an extension with the Los Angeles Lakers, which through some numbers might be able to still get to a significant amount of money. No one's going to really be looking at Luka at soup kitchens going forward. But it was a trade that truly shocked everyone and everywhere at the time. The reason why it's this low is because it essentially happened this year, and we don't necessarily know the full ramifications of what it's going to be from a team aspect from both Dallas and Los Angeles. But the one thing that we know for a fact of what this means is everyone in the NBA can now get moved. Before, there was an idea of truly untouchables, and maybe there still is that pristine list of guys that are just going to be moved. But ever since the player empowerment movement has happened, which will come up later in this list, when LeBron James made his proclamation that I'm, taking my talents to South Beach, slowly but surely, there's been a considerable rollback, I would say, in the type of power that the NBA players have had. If you look at a lot of the contracts that are happening, we have now entered a space where we have a significant amount of non-guaranteed deals in the league, which just wasn't the case before and a couple years ago. I understand the top guys will still get their guaranteed money, but it's all about the entire body of players. And what you're seeing now is that guys are getting not only less money, less years, but less guaranteed dollars on their contracts. And that is slowly a rollback and a pushback to what a lot of people feel like is the player empowerment movement. And owners getting sick of players just trying to leave whenever they feel like leaving. And this was kind of, I think, the shock and awe of, oh, this is not the type of league that it was 15 years ago. The NBA has made major changes since 2000 till now. And I think to see the shift in going one way of having the players essentially having all the power to being a push back in that direction has the reason why the Luka Doncic actual trade is on this list, um, for reference. All right, 23 and 22 have to deal with a version of the same player. It's the same team that's in it, but two different outcomes for this. So number 23 is Malcolm Butler's interception in the Super Bowl. This happened on February 1st, 2015. Malcolm Butler, the cornerback for the New England Patriots, picks off Russell Wilson. Then the Patriots go on to win the Super Bowl. This was Tom Brady. I don't think most people even remember this. This was Tom Brady's first Super Bowl victory in a decade, because they had won the three out of four. They had lost to the Giants the year prior. Then they lost to the Giants again in 12. And then this was essentially the 2014-2015 season, the next time that Brady was able to get back to Super Bowl. The reason why that this is important is the fact that winning Super Bowls is hard. I know the Patriots got to 1,000 Super Bowls, but during the Tom Brady era, but these things are not easy to win. And he would then have gone from winning his first 3 Super Bowls in a row to then going 0-3 in his next 3 Super Bowls, if this game goes the way that people think about it, of it running the football. The second thing that's also a little bit of a sneaky like kind of idea, and we'll never know for fully when this trigger would have been pulled, but people forget Jimmy Garoppolo was on the team this year. Belichick already had in his mind that he was trying to move off of Brady well before he actually was able to do so. If Malcolm Butler does not pick this pass off, there's a good chance that Brady is even more pushed out the door. Is it hard to replace a quarterback who just got to the Super Bowl, even if they lost the Super Bowl? Sure, that would have been the case. But Belichick clearly was a guy who didn't care about any of that. He was about looking to the future at every single chance that he could have gotten. And as we know, Jimmy Garoppolo was eventually traded, and the right move was to keep Brady. But the thought is that his idea, this ironclad, like, you cannot beat this man when you need to beat him, had already taken a hit by them losing again to the Giants back-to-back years. But this would have been a major dent in that if they then proceed to lose the next 3 Super Bowls and Brady essentially shut out for a whole decade of his career. You know, obviously Brady goes on, and we'll talk about more about Brady later in the show, for his career. But these kind of flash in the pan moments is truly what takes players from being good and allows them to have a good moment to elevate to superstar status. The other flip side of this moment is, I do think that this is going to be the game or the play that will keep Russell Wilson out of the Hall of Fame. You know, Russell Wilson, I think if you look at his first 9 years of his career, I think everyone would have thought this guy would have been in the Hall of Fame, right? You look at the numbers that he put up, especially the wins. I mean, the Seahawks were just winning at such a clip during that time that he eventually got better and better. If he is then a 2-time Super Bowl champ, and it'll be hard to look back to think if he would have won the MVP, but I'm assuming if, let's say, the play happens or they're able to catch a pass or he throws the game-winning touchdown, it'll be hard for him not to win MVP. So you're looking at a guy that would have been a 2-time Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP, leading a franchise that was historically not very good in the Seahawks, to back-to-back championships. It's something that I think would have certified him as a Hall of Famer. Now, I think it's way more of a conversation whether or not Russ will eventually get into Hall of Fame, because his career kind of has gone a little sideways is too strong, but it hasn't been the smoothest transition, I think, for a guy that people thought was extremely talented and was eventually going to get there. He doesn't have any MVPs. I don't believe Russell Wilson ever made first or second team All-Pro. I know he's made multiple Pro Bowls. But I do think that second Super Bowl um, would have ironclad stamped him into the Hall of Fame. And now I don't know if he'll actually end up getting there at the end of the day. Um, the last one that we have for today, and I think this is a good one to end on because um, I'll explain it a little bit later. But this kind of is a microcosm, I think, a little bit of the Tom Brady era in the Patriots. But this is Tom Brady's last game in Foxborough. This happened on January 4th, 2020. Um, this actually had, I went back and watched this game. It's a pretty boring game to watch, to be honest. Brady didn't play great, but he didn't play, he wasn't terrible. Um, Basically, all the scoring was in the first half. This was essentially a 14-13 game the entire game after the first half. And Tom Brady's last pass as a Patriot is him throwing an interception to Logan Ryan, who took it back for a touchdown. Pretty self-explanatory. This was the day the greatest dynasty died. It was over. No more Super Bowls. The Patriots have only been to the playoffs once since this game. Um, they haven't hosted a playoff game since this game. And it's essentially what got Brady and Bill Belichick out of the paint, and they no longer were there. The biggest thing that was even crazier is if you go back and look at some of the Patriots playoff just history, the dominance that this team had for the amount of time that they had was a truly remarkable. This was only the third time Brady lost a playoff game at home in the amount of years that he played there. The first time he lost a playoff game at home, they got stomped by the Ravens in 2009. Ray Rice went off on them. And the second time was against the Jets when Rex Ryan and them guys came up. It's the can't wait game when they went up to New England and beat them. It's remarkable to think that the level of just pure dominance and pure effort that went into these actual games and wins was something that I don't think many people even thought was even possible to have this type of dominance going forward. And it just goes to show you that as much as we want to think at the moment that Patrick Mahomes is going to catch Brady, he has a long, long, long way to go. Now, like I just said before, Brady went 10 whole years without winning another Super Bowl. And Patrick Mahomes was just in the Super Bowl this past season, winning 3. He's had 4 more to catch him. And he's still on a faster pace than Brady. But a lot of things went the way that they needed to go for Brady in the playoffs that you just aren't going to be able to see. And we'll be able to understand if this dynasty will be able to continue with the Chiefs. But the Patriots one was one that truly struck fear into everyone's heart. So that's the last one. The interception of Tom Brady at Gillette Stadium was number 22 on our list. All right. Thank you guys again for listening. We will come back with you guys next week with the next 4 that we have. We will be running numbers 21, 20, 19, and 18 for you guys. Okay. So we're going to try to do 4 of these an episode. Try to give you guys a nice little detailed breakdown of why things went the way they did and why these were the butterfly moments of their time. And it's crazy enough to think, speaking back on the Patriots one, that the guy who beat them and Tom Brady is now their head coach. So life is ultimately a flat circle. But again, thank you guys again for listening to the Men Who Cry podcast, and we'll catch you guys again next week. Peace.